Hey, I'm Randy, and you're watching The Cheap Audio Man. Here at The Cheap Audio Man, we help everyone find high-value hi-fi home theater and headphone equipment. And today, we're talking about the topping DX5 in a very fancy box. What is it? It's a DAC and a headphone amp. So, sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the topping DX5. Today's sponsor is Rocktopus. That's right, start the petition now. One of my patrons, John S., created these things from his mind. Actually, I think he downloaded the plans from somebody else. Doesn't matter though, because John S. perfected the Rocktopus. That's why we need to start the petition today. So, if you want to buy a Rocktopus, put it in the comments down below, because John S. needs to start making them and giving them and selling them to the world so everybody can enjoy the Rocktopus. It's our favorite invertebrate over here at The Cheap Audio Man. Kind of like our little mascot. By the way, each Rocktopus is $3,300 because it's certified audiophile grade invertebrate. Okay, $3,300. It's a real bargain when you consider all the other invertebrates and that apparently they die after a year. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Now is the best time ever to subscribe because we are giving away a whole bunch of stuff when we hit 100,000 subscribers. That could happen today. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, fill out the Google form, and you could end up winning SVS speakers, Emotiva speakers, Aperion audio speakers, periodic audio IEMs, Fluence turntable, U-turn turntable, a whole bunch of stuff. I'm probably leaving somebody out. But it's super easy to enter. Fill out the Google form, subscribe, follow me on Instagram. If you're not on Instagram, not a huge deal breaker. Apos Audio sent this out to me. Apos Audio sells a whole bunch of headphone stuff. So if you're interested, click on the link. It'll be in the description. DAC amp. Got the balanced headphone output right here. Single-ended right there. Screen. It's like an oval shaped. Full disclosure, I don't love the oval shaped porthole. Make it rectangle. Alright? It's alright though. And then volume knob right here. It's a clicky volume knob. And for all you Tidal fans out there, it's got MQA sticker on top. And then all you high-res audio, it's got high-res sticker. Not only just a high-res sticker, it's got a high-res audio wireless sticker, which I'm assuming they're referring to the Bluetooth connection, which tops out at LDAC. LDAC is a Bluetooth codec. Bluetooth codecs come in a bunch of different flavors. You got LDAC, you got aptX HD, aptX LL, aptX. I think there's actually a new aptX coming out. Then you got AAC and SBC. Point being, this is going to cover all your bases if you want to use Bluetooth. If you want to use LDAC, which is the best codec right now, I think there might be some better ones, but they're not really utilized right now. You're going to have an Android device or any device that supports LDAC because you need LDAC on this end and LDAC on this end, or whatever you're sending your music through the cosmos to the DAC amp. On the back, one has balanced output, okay? Then single-ended output, then you got a USB full-size right there. Full-size USB input for all your USB needs. Full-size SPDIF optical. Full-size coaxial. And then, whoopsie daisies, right there, you have an IEC power connection. So no wall warts for this, no bricks. And you have a master power switch on the back. So what do y'all think of this? The aesthetics. Kind of curvy. Kind of roundy. Kind of grayish and then blue-ish. Kind of grayish. I don't know. I've never quite seen anything like this. It's kind of like, I don't know, the 50s, kind of, but it's definitely different. It's definitely different from anything that I've seen before. I guess Topping's trying to kind of get on the i5 bandwagon with the i5 Zen series. You think this is ripping off the i5 Zen series? It's cool. Tell you what, though. It's no Geshelli Labs with the green front and the white box. No, it's not. And incidentally, if you're interested in Geshelli stuff, it just doesn't come in that color. It comes in really whatever color you want it to be. Okay? Okay. I just wanted it to be built in the most obnoxious color scheme available, and that's what I came up with. All right, so what is the beauty of this thing, or why would one consider this? Well, because it's an all-in-one headphone DAC amp. And you could use it on a stereo or a soundbar replacement system because it also comes with a remote control. This one, which is typical topping / SMSL. There we go. Typical remote control, all right? This is the same one you get with pretty much everything. Now, I think Topping is trying to make stuff that looks a little bit upmarket, a little fancy, because the packaging is getting fancier, while the remote controls are staying the same. So if you want to get fancy, the easiest way to say your audiophile is to have a fancy remote control. And then everybody's going to go, ooh, it must be nice because there's a fancy remote control. So Topping, spend an extra $10 and get the aluminum remote control, okay? They all have them, okay? PS Audio has it, Schiit Audio has it, Aperion Audio has the same remote control. I'm sure it's $15. You put the thing in there. And then everybody's like, ooh, this is nice. Okay, so why would you want it? Because you don't have to have a DAC and an amp, okay? You just have one piece instead of two pieces. If you're running this into a stereo, now you have remote control. Let's say if you have a vintage receiver or something like that. Not only do you have a remote control, now you have Bluetooth. You have LDAC Bluetooth, which is pretty good Bluetooth. This comes in at $450, which isn't cheap, but when one considers what they're getting is basically a headphone amp, balanced headphone amp, and a balanced DAC, and variable volume control, and Bluetooth, $450 doesn't sound as expensive as it actually is, because really you're getting two, if not three devices in one. There is some competition out there. The SMSL M500 Mark II? I don't know. I'm gonna A/B them here in a second. So there's some competition in the same price range, which has similar functionality. Looks different, but pretty much behaves similarly. All right, power output. 1800 milliwatts or 1.8 watts into 32 ohm headphones at 1% THD. Okay, that's plenty. A 1 watt headphone is usually pretty good. So if you can get 1 watt or more at 32 ohms, usually going to drive just about anything. It has all the bits for your DACs, DSD, PCM, what is it? 32-bit up to 768 kilohertz, just in case you have a bunch of those files lying around. Also has full encoding for MQA if you're into Tidal. Apparently it measures really well. So you can go check out the popular measurement websites if you want to check out how this thing measures. Anyway, it does well. So for $450 for a DAC and an amp, not too shabby. But let's see how it sounds, because I have had things in the past that have measured perfectly, but I thought they were a little bit boring. So let's see how it stacks up against the SMSL, and I'm going to put this up against my Geshelli stack too. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter video because things didn't go exactly as planned. Sound-wise, very similar to the SMSL M500 Mark II. So, detailed, slightly sibilant, airy, has a tendency to be harder on top. I think the topping sounded a bit better, a bit fuller than the SMSL. You know, we're talking by hairs. Very subtle differences. Did hear a difference between this and the Geshelli J2 and the Enog. I always forget what the balanced headphone amplifier is. Anyway, I prefer the Geshelli Labs. It has a bit more robust presentation. This seems very analytical, clinical, in your face. I was using the Hi-Fi-Man Edition XS to listen. So the reason why I'm cutting this short is because the MQA, I was listening to Tidal, every time there was an MQA Masters track and I had the laptop in exclusive mode, you know, doing all the MQA stuff, it sputtered at the beginning of almost every track. So if I switched tracks, it would sputter and then play for a half second, sputter again, and then go into the track. I was able to fix this by simply taking it out of exclusive mode and therefore not using MQA. So when I didn't use MQA, this worked just fine. The other thing that I don't like about this DAC, besides it not working with MQA, is the lack of physical controls on the front. So really what you have is input switching and then an on and an off, okay? If there's a way to get into the menu, I couldn't find it, because if you long press it, it turns off. If you short press it, it turns the input stage. So you go from optical, Bluetooth, USB, etc. So you have to have the remote control, which is fine, but Topping does this stuff on other DACs too, where almost every other manufacturer, maybe every other manufacturer, there's a way to get into it with physical buttons on the front. You don't always have the remote control, or the remote control doesn't always have batteries. The sound signature is okay, but it's really reminiscent of dozens of DACs within this price category, from Topping, SMSL, Gustard. They all sound the same. Actually, the one Topping DAC that really stood out to me was the E50. I thought it sounded incredible. Now, this is more than a DAC, of course, because it has a headphone amplifier. I still think it's okay at the price for $430. You're getting a really good Bluetooth, you're getting a headphone amp, and you're getting balanced if you need it. If you need it. But if you're wanting to update a vintage receiver, you could use this, but there's no reason why you need balance, because vintage stuff isn't balanced. I feel like there's kind of an overreaction for balanced stuff. Yeah, balanced stuff is cool, all right? You got double the voltage. Okay, you get a little bit more signal to noise ratio, maybe a little bit more dynamic range. But the sound differences, to my ear, they're not a huge leap, if any leap, above even the SU6 by SMSL, the Schiit Modi. I think this sounds pretty similar. If you want an all-in-one solution, though, this is pretty good. Because here's the thing. I used to travel a lot for work, and I would take dongle DACs. Problem with dongle DACs is, number one, they don't have a ton of power. Number two, they're dependent upon the device it's hooked up to for power. Something like this is relatively small. This is how big it is compared to my head. This is how big it is compared to a soda. This is how big it is compared to a Darth Vader Star Wars action figure. Yeah. Most people could fit this in their carry-on luggage. So if they are traveling, they have their laptop almost always for work. You can just hook this up to it and be rocking and rolling. Truth be told, you could probably do that with some other devices as well that aren't going to cost $430, and you're not going to need balance. Although, if you want balanced headphones, you can use that. I'm on the fence about this one. The MQA Jittery Jukin. The MQA Jitterbug. No. The MQA, the sputtering MQA, kind of a deal breaker for me. I really don't even care about MQA. So don't use it and then not have sputtering. It feels decent. Feels fine. I don't like this circle thing though. I like a square. Like an old school receiver. The irony is, the actual screen is rectangle. It's just this faceplate is oval. I'm no designer though, okay? It sounds okay. It's too harsh for me. I like the fuller, wider sounding DACs. SU8S, SU9, which actually, one of the latest SMSL DACs, nope, they just said no MQA. And I respect that. So I think that's kind of cool. I've got no problem with MQA personally. What I do have a problem with, though, is when a DAC can't play it and the music is not enjoyable. That's what I have a problem with. So it's either the drivers or something within the DAC, or maybe this thing needs an update. I think it gets updated. I think just the driver gets updated. Maybe it needs a driver update. I don't know. I personally would just go with a Geshelli stack. You can get either their balanced headphone amp or their single-ended, or get a Schiit stack, the Modi and Magni. And that's going to come in at probably half the price of this. Now, you don't get a remote control with either of those, but there's other options out there. SMSL SU6 and SH6. I think that comes in around 250 bucks. It's got a remote. It's got Bluetooth, single-ended, and it sounds pretty much the same as this to my ear. If it fits into your budget, you like the aesthetics, then yeah, go for it. But there's other products out there that sound about as good, that have about as many features, that cost less. But kind of goes with a MacBook. Yeah. All right. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon. Patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have Patreon-only Zooms, and we have a Patreon-only Facebook group and Discord server. There's also a little thing on my videos now called Thanks. And if you click on that, you can contribute to the channel. A couple dollars. $1, $2, $5, $100. I wouldn't recommend that. But if you got value out of a video and you don't want to be a Patreon, you don't want to use the affiliate links, but you want to throw me a bone or two, then you can use the little thanks button. You can also use the affiliate links. This will be linked to Apos Audio's store. The other links in the description, most of those are affiliate links. You can also buy some merchandise. There's links in the description for the merchandise. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen maybe through your topping DX5, just not using MQA, and fill your soul with happiness. And with that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.